Hi.
Hi. Good morning.
Hi.
Hi. How is
Happy
Here we
everybody
are on a
today?
Monday.
Monday.
Monday? Is today Monday?
Oh
Oh,
my
that's
God.
right. We switched it.
It made me
Sorry.
second guess. I'm like, I didn't do any crack today, so I'm thinking it is Monday.
And
Like,
I'm working. I'm working today unless I'm working on the
Oh my
weekends.
God. I guess I thinking we always do it on Tuesday. I'm just,
Ugh.
believe my mind is like
I wish it
done.
was Tuesday already.
Done.
both Chris and I go,
Yeah.
yeah, it is Monday. It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I guess we are going to be switching to Monday since our Danny got a new job and going to be leaving us on Tuesdays now. So we'll be switching to
Yes.
Mondays. We may be skipping next week since you are leaving and then going to be starting. So we may have to skip a week, but we'll talk
Or
about
maybe
that
Jen and
later.
I do it by ourselves.
You can do that.
Oh, we could do
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
Yeah, we could
What
do
do we
that.
talk about for a solid 40
Danny.
minutes?
We'll talk about Danny for 40
Yeah,
minutes.
talk about me. I'm used to that.
All
The
right.
Toby
Well,
Keith song.
let's get started with today's show.
Okay, well,
We got love, murder, and happiness, or love, murder, and love, murder, and happiness, right?
right. And I'm
We'll
going to
see.
talk about murder. It's kind of fun. I mean, it's not fun. It's very sad and disgusting and horrible, but it's fun to talk about, and I'm interested in it. Today, I'm going to talk about 30-year-old Bryan Kohberger. He is the person who is accused of stabbing 4 University of Idaho students to death with a K-bar knife. It's a crazy, crazy story. Apparently, Kohberger, as a teenager, a upper teen, mid-teens and early 20s, was a heroin addict, and he was pretty heavy, kind of fat, and he has just had like a lifelong battle of whatever is in his brain. His defense is saying that his very scary stare. I don't know if you've seen him at all, but he has this stare. He just stares at the camera with no emotion. So now his defense is saying that he has OCD as well as autism. So that's the reason why he doesn't look like he has any remorse or nervous or sad or whatever, any emotion.
Is this the case that happened like many years ago, or is
It
this a
happened
new one?
November of 22.
It's
Okay.
yeah, where he
Where
went
he-
into the
so he-
house and he stabbed all
Yeah,
those
he
kids.
went into the house. He stabbed
Okay.
four college University of Idaho college students who had just gotten home from a night out of having a good time. Two of the victims that he stabbed couldn't defend themselves or even resist because they were so drunk. So another reason to not get so annihilated that you can't defend yourself. Not blaming those kids is terrible, terrible situation. But he took this very eerie selfie just 4 hours after the alleged murders, and he posted it on his and that was apparently only 4 hours after he had brutally killed these people, 4 young children.
Wasn't he
with-
smiling too? Didn't he have like
He
a
was
smirk on his
smiling. It's
face?
very,
Yeah.
very scary the way he
Yeah.
looks. I mean, as if he's
Oh.
possessed. I hope they don't let him use any kind of defense. He bought some sort of, it's called K-bar knife, K-bar. But here's it goes back to my first true crime. He bought it on Amazon. Like, okay, if you're a stupid criminal that's gonna start committing crimes, don't buy your murder weapons on Amazon. They're going to catch you. So he bought the K-bar, the sheath, and a sharpener on Amazon. And then just weeks after the murders, in his shopping cart, his browsing history, it shows a replacement for the knife. The same knife. He wanted to replace it because obviously he probably ditched it and got rid of it.
Right.
And he hasn't been convicted, and I don't want anyone calling me saying he's not convicted and he's not a murderer. So I don't know if he is, but there is a lot of evidence to say that he is a murderer. He's raising in the defense this week. He's also a criminology PhD student. So
Of course he is.
he probably knew what he was doing, or so he thought.
Did he go to that school?
Yeah.
Oh,
in school.
wow.
He went to the neighboring college in Washington, which is it's not very far away from Moscow. So they're saying that he has autism. I don't know if he had ever been diagnosed with autism in school or not, but he was in and out of rehab a lot as a young adult for heroin. They say his behaviors are highly consistent with someone having autism. Anyway, they're just getting ready to start his trial. So it's very interesting to me. I mean, to kill four people in such a heinous crime like that with a knife
and brutally. God, can you imagine
brutal.
stabbing 4 people? Stabbing them.
It was 3 girls and one of the girls' boyfriends that he killed.
And did he track them? Like was he hunting them down, or was it just like a random? He just happened to be there.
Maybe he was at the bar and he saw them getting smashed.
I don't think so. I think they haven't really said anything. It says the prosecutors. He was seen wearing gloves and placing trash baggies because of the guilty conscience. So that right there saying that, you know, he knows what he's doing. But I don't think that he tracked him, but they say when you kill with a knife like this, it's definitely personal. So I don't.
Yeah.
I haven't seen. I've been looking all over. I haven't seen if he actually knew these kids or not. He didn't go to the same school, so I don't know. They just say he has a developmental he's not coordinated. So there's no way he could have stabbed all these kids because the jury should know that Mr. Kohberger has a developmental coordination disorder that impacts his fine motor dexterity and visual motor function. So there's no way he could stab all those children.
They're going to have him get up and do the knife.
Yeah, like how do you not, I can understand a gun, like being able to point and aim and hit the target, but a knife?
And it says the lawyers say such speed and coordination are not possible for him.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
This is OJ all over again.
So it's pretty scary. It's just awful. I just feel so terrible for those children's parents. But they moved the trial to Boise, Idaho, which is the capital of Idaho, where I lived for 8 years. I'll shout out to all my Boise people. It's the best kept secret in the world. Probably just let it out. But, you know, a lot of Californians are moving there, but it is such a beautiful, beautiful place.
Oh, they will ruin that city.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's kind of what I have today. I'll keep you posted on, you know, going forward on kind of the trial and how it's working. But it's just very interesting. It's so awful that somebody has the power over. Look at all those lies that he has had the power over ruining. You know, those parents will never be the same.
I was thinking about this today. Like, at what point does it become your first time? You know what I mean? Like, it just. How do you just wake up one day
I don't.
and
It
be
didn't
like,
say if like he was a person who killed rabbits
or people. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, he bought the knife in March and he didn't kill him until November. So he was thinking about it for a while, and maybe he did. Maybe he did kill other people.
Exactly.
Yeah. Maybe he has committed it in other times, and you know, maybe he started out, you know, doing it with bunnies, and you know how like all those psycho.
My neighbor's kid kills animals. I think he's going to be a serial killer.
He just kills animals?
Yeah, he kills
it. Your neighbor doesn't watch this.
No, I don't care about her. I don't even know her name. I don't.
My son Aaron used to like to pitchfork frogs when he was little, like maybe 7 or 8.
Yay!
And he did
frogs.
He did do that, but we said, you know, if you want to kill any frog, you have to eat whatever you kill. You don't get to just kill them randomly. So he did. He ate the frog legs with his grandpa. God. Yeah. But he grew out of that. Right? He grew out of Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
He grew out of that. I'll have him make you up a batch, Krista.
Oh yeah, yum yum.
So that's what I have today.
Yummy in my tummy.
Go ahead, Krista.
You're up, ma'am.
Okay, well, so there was an article that came out with the 20 most happiest countries in 2025. This was pretty interesting.
Where does Erica fall?
Oh, well, I'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
So Finland is the happiest country, yet again, 8 years in a row. Can you believe that?
That's awesome.
So it's based on an analysis of how the residents of over 140 countries rate their quality of life. So with 10 meaning someone is currently living the best possible life they can imagine, Finns came in first with an average score of 7.74. So the author of this article says that they're wealthy, healthy, have social connections, social support, and connection with nature. They're not happy, like joyful dancing in the street, but they're very content with their lives. So the US dropped to number 24.
We're 24
Mm-hmm.
on the 25 happiest.
20th.
Oh,
Yeah, we're not even in the top 20.
oh wow.
Last year they came in number 23. This year we are number 24. And they said the decline is largely contributed to the younger generations who are reporting lower levels of happiness than ever before, which is like super sad for us.
Well, it's because they don't leave behind their computers and they're gamed. All they don't get outside and
they
enjoy
have no
fresh
social
air.
connections. They have no they
Yeah.
don't go outside, right?
Yeah.
So there are a number of issues at play, like including eating alone, which is really sad. 1 in 4 Americans ate all their meals alone the previous day, and an increase of 53% since 2003. So 53% of Americans eat by themselves.
I hate seeing people eating by themselves.
I know.
Like, it always bothers me.
Especially if they're old. You know, like, it says dining alone has become more prevalent for every age, especially for the young people. There is also something that the authors of the report call deaths of despair, especially among younger Americans who feel less supported and less optimistic about their standard of life. On the other hand, it's not as bad among older Americans. The U.S. ranks 10th for happiest among adults over 60, which is not bad. I mean, that makes sense.
Well,
the boomers
yeah.
are happier.
Right. Well, and we think we don't take care of our elders, but we do, I guess.
Right.
Better than maybe some countries do.
It says the Nordic countries historically are at the top, are getting happier, while the U.S. is getting grumpier.
Probably because we have like such weight problems and things like that. We don't get out and exercise, and we're all everything needs to be at our fingertips. And you know, if it's not, we're so spoiled.
Yep. While GDP per capita is relatively similar across the Nordic countries, the U.S., Australia, and UK, the distribution of wealth sets them apart. So in these Nordic Scandinavian countries, a rising tide lifts all boats, so the levels of economic inequality are much less, and that
so they're
reflects
socialists,
their well-being.
Right. They're socialists. They don't believe in capitalism.
I think so. Yeah, they all have social medical, and
socialized
I think in
medicine.
these countries too, they have like maternity leave for like 9 months or something.
Oh,
or
yeah.
6 months. Even the men get
That's why their
leave.
governments kind of go broke too, you know? I mean, that's why everyone relies on America to pay for everything. I mean, we got to work hard so we can support all the other countries. Maybe I'm wrong, but I know we do fund a lot of people.
Yeah, they probably don't have 5-day work weeks either.
Right, that's true too.
Or they get naps during the day.
That sounds really nice right now.
You haven't even started working yet.
Sounds good though.
So they were saying this year the researchers found a strong correlation between someone believing in the kindness of others and their own perceived happiness. Across the board, too often people underestimate the kindness of others. Like, say, if someone will return a lost wallet, it affects the well-being. Wallets are returned to their owner at almost twice the rate people assume. However, compared to the U.S., more people in Nordic countries believe a lost wallet will be returned, and more people are likely to return it. You know, I mean, we're negative Nancy's all the time. You know,
yeah,
like
they're honest.
Yeah. Well, it's the perception. Like, we think that if we lose something, like we lose a wallet, we're never going to see it again. Someone's going to find it and they're going to keep everything. Unlike, I mean, actually, one time when we were selling Jay-Z's last Jeep, he did it in the parking lot of the DMV right down the street. He came home after doing the paperwork with the guy, and he's like, "Where's my wallet? I left my wallet on the Jeep." And the guy drove off, and the wallet probably fell off. And so we went back and drove, and we couldn't find the wallet. Literally, I kid you not, I was home 2 or 3 days later. Somebody knocks on the door and was like, "Oh, I found this wallet on the side of the road."
Wow.
That happened to Colby last year. He lost his wallet, and somebody put it in the mail and mailed it to him.
Yeah, everything.
That is nice when you hear that.
Yeah, everything was in it except for I think his work Lowe's credit card, like cash, our debit
Oh,
cards,
wow.
credit
That's
cards,
great.
everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of
See,
course, we
America
thought we
does
would
have
never see it
honest
again.
people. America does have honest people. It just depends on who you are polling, right? Just like how they say, Trump is this on the polls or Biden was that in the polls. It just depends on who you're polling.
Right.
Exactly.
So the more you believe in the kindness of others, or in other words, are socially trusting, the higher your individual well-being and the higher collective well-being. The Nordic countries do better both in beliefs of kindness and in the actual wallet drops.
I wonder
Maintaining
what their mainstream media is like.
yeah, I know,
Probably not
right?
all doom and gloom.
Right. Just all snow and
Yeah.
blizzards. And the northern lights. Maintaining a strong sense of community with acts such as regularly dining with others, for example, improve social trust, happiness. As for Mexico and Costa Rica joining the top 10 for the first in the list's history, points to the
I think
strength of
I
the
have to call
country's...
BS on that.
Oh, well,
I
let
can't
me tell
imagine
you why.
Mexico.
Well,
Okay.
no, it doesn't. I mean, as far as like other like political stuff, but this is the reason why. Like it's. I
Oh,
think it
their
has to do
government's
with
awful.
like family values and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So it says it points to the strength of the country's social fabrics. Latin American countries reported the highest number of shared meals and ranked high on social connections and trust. It
'Cause
helps
they all live
explain
together.
right, and they all eat together, and
Yeah.
it helps explain why their rankings dipped more dramatically in COVID-19 isolation years.
Mm.
13 out of 14 meals shared across 7 days correlated to the highest well-being measure for those countries. It's not because of the high GDP, it's the highest life expectancy. They do spend time dining and lunching with others, having friends. It's not all cannibalized by social media. So we picked up on this in the data. They're content with less, and they had less. They're more content with less. They're happier with what they got. So let's talk about the top 20 countries. So number 1 is Finland. Number 2 is Denmark. Number 3 is Iceland. Number 4 is Sweden. And number 5 is Netherlands. So those are all the Scandinavian countries. 6 is Costa Rica. 7 is Norway. 8 is Israel, which that
Wow.
shocked me. Yeah.
Yeah.
9 is Luxembourg. 10 is Mexico. 11 Australia. 12 is New Zealand. 13 is Switzerland, which I thought Switzerland would be higher on the list, but
Yeah.
Belgium 14, 15 is Ireland, 16 is Lithuania, 17 is Australia, 18 is Canada,
Wow.
19 is Slovenia, and 20 is Czech Republic. So,
Okay.
That's great.
I have to ask you, Krista, is that like a giant balloon animal
It
in the
is.
back?
Yeah, it's stuffed. It's a stuffed balloon animal.
That's so cute.
They had
That's
them for Valentine's Day, so they had little ones and they had really big ones. And right after Valentine's Day, it was at Walmart. Everything was like 75% off. That thing
Oh.
was originally $25. I paid $6 for it.
Oh,
Cute.
I
That's
couldn't help
cute.
myself. When we were when we were shopping at Valentine's Day, like right before Valentine's Day, I was shopping with Jay-Z and I showed it to him. I was like, he's like, oh hell no. So then I went grocery shopping after Valentine's Day and I saw it for $6. I was like, I'm gonna buy that for myself.
Heck yeah.
Screw
It's
it.
cute.
Super cute.
Thanks. Kylo hates it.
I bet.
Oh,
That's the way the cats are with the new cuddle clone. They're like,
Oh, they don't like it?
"What is no?"
oh, how
But
funny.
Taco
Oh
likes
God.
it.
Taco's okay with it, but like Nugget, I'll put the eyes right up to it. Nugget's like he like backs away
I'm gonna
slowly.
I'm gonna remove his heart. But did it do what you wanted it to do for Taco?
I think a little bit, but probably not what I was expecting. I was expecting
you'll
them
just
to give
have
it
to
like
get
a
a
giant
replacement.
hug and
Yeah.
but I mean, if it gives them any bit of comfort, then I'm happy with that. But I don't
Right.
know. Maybe it was more for me than thinking it would help them.
Guess you'll just have to get another kitty.
Ooh, your
Oh.
nails look good, Danny.
Oh, let me see. Oh,
Look
they do
at
look
you.
pretty.
They're short,
They do
Yeah.
look pretty.
bougie.
All right, so I am going to talk about, because when we were riding home from brunch on Saturday, Krista and I were talking about thank God that we don't have to date right now. Like I just can't even imagine having to date, like getting
Kidding.
ready and talking about yourself and
Or just
going out
talking
and
to
actually
someone
trying to
else.
meet people.
Small
Yeah.
talk bullshit.
Yeah.
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 Like all of that and trying to learn each other. So it got me thinking. So I've decided to do the dangers in dating. So I'm going to talk about 4 cases. So the first one is the murder of Miranda Corset, which
Oh,
actually
murder.
just happened in St. Pete
Oh,
in
my.
February. So
Oh,
she was
my.
16,
How
16
old?
years old,
Oh,
16 years old. And she met Stephen Grass, who was 35, through a dating app. She visited his home on February 14th, and then she returned the next day, and she was held captive for several days. The couple accused her. It was his couple. Her name was Michelle Brandis. She's 37. They were accusing her of stealing jewelry, which led up to prolonged abuse. Miranda was ultimately murdered between February 20th and 24th, had her body dismembered and disposed in a dumpster. So both of them have been charged with first-degree murder.
so she
which
went
is
over to a
good.
couple's house. Did she know she was dating a couple, or did she
No,
think
I
it
don't
was
think
just
she
the
knew
man?
about the partner, but I mean,
Oh.
she had to because she went back the next day. But I guess that's all.
Wow.
Who knows? Who
And
knows
she was
what?
16.
16 years old, yeah,
Oh.
and met him through a dating app. The next one I have is Justy Stillwell in Bay City, Michigan. This is a 41-year-old janitor. He met Robert Twitty on Grindr, the dating app. Met him on September 14th. And
So this is a boy-boy match?
boy, immediately went missing. He was reported missing on September 18th, and parts of his body were discovered in Saginaw River. And Tweedley confessed to pushing Stillwell downstairs, strangling him and dismembering his body. And he faces charges of open murder and mutilation of a corpse.
Oh my gosh.
The third one I have is the shopping cart killer. This is in Virginia. The perpetrator was Anthony Eugene Robinson, 38 years old. He was dubbed the shopping cart killer because he is accused of murdering at least 4 women that he had met through dating apps, killed them, and transported their bodies using shopping carts. Surveillance footage reportedly shows Robinson with the victims at hotels and later moving large objects in shopping carts. He has been
my
charged with
gosh.
multiple counts of first-degree murder and is awaiting trial. And the fourth one I have, this one is in Ireland, and it's the murders of Aidan Moffat and Michael Snee. And these two met Yusuf Polani, 23, used a dating app to target gay men living alone. And he murdered Moffat on April 11th and Snee on April 12th, inflicting severe injuries and mutilating their bodies. Polani was arrested shortly after and pleaded guilty to both murders in addition to assault in October of 2023, and he was sentenced to life imprisonment. So just doing more research, and, all these people are finding people on dating apps, and, dating apps it's a business. It's not a research. It's literally having people sign up. So if you have a phone number, you can sign up. And, people are not doing research on these people. So sexual predators, whoever it may be. So they gave some examples on how to start researching people. So, of course, Google full name, Google like full name plus arrest, full name, look on LinkedIn, look in full name plus city, full name plus job, use Google images.
County courts
For sure. Do Google images to do reverse search on any image to see if they come up. Definitely use social media. Look on Instagram, look on Facebook, and then look at their social media. Are there like long gaps in activity or weird vibes, like weird different things? Are they tagged by other people?
You
If they're
basically
tagged
have
by
to
other
stalk the
people,
stalker.
They actually exist.
then they could actually exist. Yeah.
Oh, that is so weird. Oh,
Look at LinkedIn for verifying job,
Mhm.
or if someone's saying they're a CEO of a company, look to verify if that's true. Public records, there's free tools such as Been Verified, Spokeo, whitepages.com, Truth Finder.
it costs money to
these-
save your life.
Well, those are free. Those are free
Oh,
apps.
okay.
And those show past addresses, criminal records, bankruptcies, and more. You might have to pay a little bit more to get the detailed records, but at least
But
there's
it's better
something
than paying
there.
with your life.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like Krista, you were saying, search court records. A lot of those are criminal and
Public.
civil. I know in Sarasota are public records. You can look them up, even evictions or small claims. Use reverse phone lookup. So if you only have a phone number, put the phone number in, see what it pulls up. They say ask specific questions. Don't be afraid to ask for last name, where they work, anything. And if they're not telling you, it's shady.
Bye.
Or if they come up with a weird name and you can't find it anywhere, it's shady. And if they do lie to you right off the bat, don't go.
It's a red flag that you
red
need
flag.
to follow. Yeah.
Don't go. They also said get the group chat involved. So, women, they are researchers, right? So, Danny, if you were going out on a date and you're like, let Krista and I know, Krista and I are going to be online, I would be researching the hell out of this person.
Yeah.
Being like, did you see this? Did you see this? But yeah, let people know, go, have a date check-in. So if you're meeting them, let them know where you're going. I used to do that with all my girlfriends. Get the last four of his social security number. I don't care.
Or maybe even turn on your tracker so that people can find you.
Share your location with
Share your location. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And now there's safety apps like Noonlight, You Are Safe, you, letter R, safe, or Circle of Six let you discreetly trigger emergency services or notify friends if something feels off. So definitely know that. And then, of course, the golden rules before meeting, meet in public. Always.
Yes, always.
Don't go to their house ever
Drive
until you know
yourself.
who they are.
Do not let them pick you up.
No.
And then tell someone where you're going, who you're with, and when you'll be back. And if your gut says no, don't go.
Follow.
Right.
It's
Don't
just
go.
too bad that you can't meet people organically anymore. Like,
Well, and like Krista and I were talking about that, what are you going to do? You're going to go sit at a bar.
yeah, exactly.
You're gonna maybe in the grocery store. I mean,
Yeah.
Jamie and I were lucky. We met at a Steeler game, which was, and we were with a group of people, which was
Right.
great. But, before that, I was on the dating apps when I moved down here.
Same.
And I went out with one guy who he lived in, I think he was in Port Charlotte. I don't remember. Port Charlotte, because I remember it was a drive.
His dating
And-
location wasn't, or whatever you said.
Yeah, geographically desirable.
Yeah.
But I drove down to meet him. We had been talking on the phone, like I actually heard his voice, and I did research and found out who he was. And I drove down to meet him. And I remember when we met at a what's your favorite place with the sausage gravy and all of that, the ham that
Cracker
Jay-Z
Barrel.
Cracker Barrel.
Ooh, romantic.
Her favorite place. Krista,
Well,
clarify
because-
who you're talking to.
My favorite place.
Because all I remember is Jay-Z loves the ham.
Yes.
That's funny.
But I wanted to meet him there, right? So he pulls in a motorcycle and he gets out, and the first thing he does is grabs me and kisses me.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay, let's slow down. And then he grabs my hand and holds my hand walking into the restaurant. So of course I'm already a little weirded out, because that's just a little too
You already
much
made
too
the
soon.
first base.
Yeah.
And so we go in, we eat, and then he's like, well, why don't we just go down to the beach? He goes, follow me back to my apartment.
Oh,
and I'm
wow.
like, follow me back to my apartment, and we'll drop your car off, or we'll drop the bike off and then go in your car down to the beach. And I'm like, all right. So I called whoever, I don't know who I called, let them know what I was doing. And so we got to his house, and he lived on like the second floor of a condo. So I figured I'm kind of safe in a condo because I know I'm a screamer and I can definitely scream. So we go up, and he starts flossing his teeth right in front of me, which
Oh, gosh.
turned me off immediately. And then he sits that on the couch, and he gets like real close, and he's like talking in my face, and he's like trying to act all. Meanwhile, it's like noon, and he's trying to act all romantic, and I start laughing because I'm like, you're just you kind of look creepy right now, and he's like, I'm not trying to be, and now he's mad because I called him creepy, and so he leans in to kiss me,
Well,
and then
if
all
the
of a
shoe
sudden he's like.
fits.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden did he show me he walked me into his bedroom, and there was
Show
and
you
I
his
remember
what?
something in his closet. Like I stayed foot in, foot out. I didn't go all the way in. But it was like a total mess. So he kissed me on the couch, and he's like, "Oh, hold on." And he pulls a freaking gun out of the back, his back thing, and puts it down on the coffee table.
He's lonely.
And I was like,
I'm out.
Okay, so everything's going through my mind, right? And then he like started doing like the romantic thing again, and I started laughing, and he got mad that I called him creepy. And I'm like, okay, this is my way out. And I got up and I'm like, you know what? This just isn't going to work. I'm leaving. No, 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 please don't go. Please don't go. He's like begging me the whole way. I'm walk down the steps. I get in my car and I just start bawling. Like I'm just crying hysterically. Like, why does it have to be this hard?
Yeah, that was that was a lot of effort for you.
That was it was a long drive. It was a long drive home. I called my mom on the way home. I'm like, this is so ridiculous. Meanwhile, he called me for probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks after, like constantly. Just kept, and I would never answer. And I stalked him one time on Facebook just because I wanted to see.
So nice now that you can block the numbers.
Yeah, and found out that he met somebody and was getting married. And I'm like, okay,
so that's what he wanted. He just wanted to be married.
He wanted something for sure, but it was just It was that was just in a 2-hour time frame. That was a lot to unpack.
You're like, we just skipped 5 months.
Yes.
Like we went from 0 to 5 months in 30 minutes.
Yeah, because like the older people were sitting on, you know how the older people sit on the rocking chairs outside of Cracker Barrel?
Yeah.
They saw him like grab and kiss me and then holding hands and stuff. And he's like, I just met her, but she's my new girlfriend. I'm like,
oh gosh.
God.
Blink once if you're in trouble.
Oh,
yeah.
Honestly, God. It was just, and that was my last.
That gravy couldn't have been that good.
That was my last date. And you know what? And I had been on
that's why Jen hates
dating
sites.
You're probably right. It's like subliminal. I don't even realize it. But that was like the last, because I had been on dating sites, but it had been like, you know, you'd talk and then something would happen and it would just turn sour, you know, like, oh, this person's just creepy, or why didn't you call me today? Or why didn't you, well, I messaged you. Why didn't you message back right away? And so that was the first one that I actually went out on a date with that, never again.
Well, God has a plan. I think God has a plan.
Yeah.
Before Jay-Z and I dated, we met before that on a dive boat, and then we connected like a couple years later, maybe 2 or 3 years later, just on Facebook. Yeah, he was my friend on Facebook for a while, and then I became single, and then we were just started chatting, and we met one night at like Evie's to watch Alabama and Tennessee play football. And then we made a bet that if Alabama beat Tennessee, that he would have to take me out on a fancy date. So Alabama beat Tennessee. So then we drove separately to the Westin. That was our first date. And ever since then,
even after you knew him, you still drove separately?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I didn't really know him, though. I didn't know him. We only hung out that one time at Evie's.
Okay.
I mean, it's scary. You just don't know. I mean, even if you think you know somebody, it's still like scary, you know? Yeah.
But I mean, there were times I don't have to do it where I was on dating sites and I would meet somebody out at the bar and get wasted and then go to the apartment and hang out. And then I could have been murdered many times, but it's,
you just don't, I mean,
I know.
Everybody thinks they know, and it just takes that one.
Well, and thank God we didn't have to learn the hard way, you know?
Yeah,
honestly,
no kidding, right?
Honestly.
Hindsight 50. I'm like, what the hell?
I remember.
That's why you worry about your kids, you know? That's why you're like, guys, you got to be careful.
I remember when I was in my 20s, and my girlfriend and I would go to the local bar and play pool, and I met this guy there. He was a over-the-road truck driver. And he parked his truck in the cinema's parking lot. And after the bar closed, 2:00 in the morning, I go over to the parking lot into the truck with this guy, and he's going to teach me how to drive this truck. Well, thankfully, we were in a small community, and one of the Robinson cops came up, and because he saw the truck like moving, moving, driving back and forth like slowly. And so he comes over and he, puts the spotlight on and I jump out of the car and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "He's just teaching me how to drive a truck." And I don't know if the cops stayed around and waited just to make sure everything was okay. But as far as I knew, he just drove away. And I stayed and kept learning how to drive the truck. And I drove a tractor trailer that night. It was something pretty cool. And got home at, 4:00 in the morning, got ready for work.
Well, and the younger you are, the more naive you are too. Like,
oh,
would
my
never,
God.
that happens to other people. That would never happen to me. But
I mean,
good.
honestly, I'm surprised I wasn't murdered in college. I kid you not. Like, there's
Well,
but
I
when we
mean,
were
that
growing
goes
up-
back to my Bryan Koberger. I mean,
yes.
he could have been at the bar with those kids. He probably knew how drunk they were or watched them drive home or walk home. He was a normal looking guy, and they don't wear a sign that says I'm a murderer or a pedophile or I'm gonna rape and kill you.
No, but the difference between now and then is when we were growing up, we didn't have social media to tell us all
Nothing.
these crazy ass
Yeah,
stories.
Right,
nothing.
you're not checking in like, hey,
Right.
I'm at, what, Linksters and
Yeah.
and I'm hammered. I'm drunk and I'm at Linksters.
But
That
these
doesn't-
people
yeah.
that are getting killed now by people like come on, you've heard all the stories. There's so many resources out there to check people out. Like, just do your due diligence. I'm assuming Danny met Mike on a dating app because she's not saying anything.
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
My very good friend Christine. I've never been on a dating app ever in my life.
Well,
I wouldn't.
really?
Bless you. Bless
No,
you. You're
I
a
just am
virgin.
not that person. I would be so weirded out by,
Yeah.
oh, hi, are you
It's so
Jake
easy,
or
though.
whatever?
Like, it's
I just
so easy. Like, it's just, and it's at your fingertips.
Yeah.
And I'm sure
how
it
to
works
meet
well for a
somebody.
lot of people. I mean, there
Yeah.
are hundreds of thousands of success stories, but to me, it's like, that seems so forced and so not who I am.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it is very
Yeah.
forced. Yeah.
But
yeah, it's very forced.
I was at a concert with my friend Christine at one of the country clubs in Tucson, and Christine's husband's name was Dave. Dave passed away in October, in October. But we were at a concert together, and Dave was riding his mountain bike. Dave would ride mountain bikes, and he rode mountain bike with Mike. And Mike went to that concert,
that.
kicking and screaming. He didn't want to go because he's like, I'm dressed like, whatever. And we just met each other, and that was that.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Was
his
it
face
love
all
at first
busted up.
sight?
No, he stalked me, but yeah, I made
Was
him
it
work
love
for
at
it.
first sight?
Not really. I had just gotten divorced, so it wasn't, it was I need a minute.
Right.
So we,
Right.
we would sometimes go on a bike ride or do fun things like that, but it took a while. But
I
yeah,
bet.
It was
But then
worth
we
it,
were-
Mike.
yeah. Now he's shut up in the room with the dog. Don't you come out of there.
All right. Next
So-
is
This is BS.
I didn't really have a BS. I mean, I have so much BS story, so many of it going on in my head all week long. But I'm always like, does anybody really? I'm going to sound like a Karen with half of these BSs
No,
that
you
I
may
come up
relate
with.
to
But-
somebody.
Well, the one I came up with now is how they're treating Elon. I feel so badly for him. Maybe he's evil. Maybe he is. And maybe I'm a bad judge of character. But I just look at his face, and I don't get a little trigger in there that goes, oh, he's really going to take over the world and kill everybody. This dude, if I read a stat that said if you got $500,000 a day today, all the way back to when Jesus walked, you still would not have the same amount of money that Elon has now. I guarantee you, Elon does not want my $18.64 in my checking account.
No.
Like, he's doing it under the directive of the president, under the American people who said, we want this change. And for people to go in and blow up dealerships, well, Elon only owns 18.2% of Tesla. The rest of it is the country. People
It's
who have
JP
stocks.
Morgan. Whoever has
The
their money with JP Morgan, there you
Minnesota's
go.
teachers
Yeah,
union and
Chase.
state
Chase.
people, they own a lot of stock.
Yep.
So you're not hurting Elon.
No.
And but I think it does hurt him. I think it hurts him personally. Like, you can kind of just see when he's in some of these interviews where he's just so deflated. Like, I am trying to make, and I mean,
And he's
I don't
doing
know.
it without being paid.
He's
I
not
mean,
being
he's
paid.
doing it
He's
just
he's
to help.
and Trump
Right.
has said over and over and over again that he's not going to do anything where he oversteps his bounds. He's not going to do anything that's a conflict of interest. He is not hurting the veterans. Trump is never going to let that happen, and nor do I think Elon would want to. Why is Elon the most persecuted African American when everybody loves African Americans? We all love African Americans, but the liberals are always like white privilege and you need to be treating African American people kindly, except for him. Is it because
Well,
the
and
skin
that's
is
what
white?
And because he's white, yeah.
Yeah.
And because he's under Trump. I mean, I keep saying that if Trump were to open a puppy rescue, everybody would hate puppies. Like they just can't do anything that anybody will appreciate. And listen, I was one of the first ones on one of mine and Jamie's first podcast where I called Elon diabolical. Like I said, he is going to be the next Batman villain. He wants to take over the world. And then I will tell you, when I saw that interview with him and Sean Hannity and Trump, and I watched his face and I listened to him talk, and I immediately withdrew what I said. And I apologized. I'm like, Elon, if you're watching this, I'm sorry, because I listened. I heard what everybody else was saying. I saw what everybody else was showing, and I made a judgment. And shame on me when you go and you look at what this man is contributing to charities, what he's done for just the country in general. He is not a bad person. He's not a bad person.
No.
Period.
I don't think, and I think too, when you have autism or Asperger's, I don't think you're capable of thinking like that. He's extremely intelligent.
And white.
And
Black
yeah,
and white.
I
That's
don't,
it.
he's not a, and you know, he's trying to help people who can't walk to walk. He's trying to help people who can't see to see. I feel very badly. And the other side of that is there's this, like, I keep seeing all these people that are posting bat shit crazy people keying Teslas. Like, these are, who do you think owns the liberal?
Nazis.
Who do you think owns the Teslas?
Yeah,
it's the liberals that followed the Green New Deal. It's not conservatives. I mean, I'm sure there are some, and they're, you know, fine, but most of the people that order Teslas or have Teslas are the people who listen to your nonsense about the sky is falling, and if you don't get a Tesla, we're gonna die in 5 years, and there's gonna be no polar bears. Like, those are the people who drive the Teslas. So why are you kidding them just because you hate Trump?
And they have 13 cameras
Elon.
on them. Like, you're going to be seen.
You already bought the car, you jackwagon.
Right, the
like,
money's already
you already
gone. You've
paid
already given him his
for
money.
the car. If you want to get rid of it, go ahead. And like Mark Kelly of Arizona, Senator, I got to get rid of this Tesla. I mean, he was really I can't stand him anyway. He made his living off his wife getting shot in the head, but that's another BS story. But he went and he got rid of his Tesla on live television, and he bought a freaking Yukon, the biggest gas guzzler you can. Yeah, so don't tell me.
Actually, I will say that Yukons are really good on gas. I will say
but
that.
But still, they're not green
really
energy. He could have gone to something else.
Tesla.
And then I see this other crazy person that keyed this Rivian.
Oh yeah,
that's not even Tesla.
No.
I'm just like, you don't even know.
They are ugly.
They are ugly.
Like $100,000.
You don't even know. That's my BS story. They don't even know what they're doing or what they're fighting for, and they just say, "Oh, that's the problem of the day." Okay, I got my key ready.
Yep,
I got my firebombs ready. You tell me what to do. Where's my professionally made sign, as Trump says?
That's why I said if Trump opened up a rescue, they'd be out killing puppies.
It's so
That'd
true.
be the next thing. Like it's ugh.
So true.
But I will say, have you seen the new Tesla pickup truck?
Yeah, it's cool looking. I like it.
It is cool looking.
And if I was rich, I never wanted a Tesla ever.
Looking.
Still probably really don't. But if I was rich, I'd probably buy one just because
and it's not
of what's
because
going
it's
on.
a Tesla. I don't want an electric vehicle. Period.
Yeah, I don't either.
Story.
Yeah,
but the
cost
pickup
a lot
truck is
more.
pretty cool looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
You
mine.
would like it, Krista.
I'll have to look it up later.
It's beefy and it's pretty cool looking.
It looks totally different.
All right, what's your BS, Krista?
Oh, the rant. Woosa, do your
Woosa. I honestly don't remember if I talked about this at brunch on Saturday, but HOAs.
Oh,
the Karens.
Bullshit.
The Karens of the world.
Shit, I hate our HOA. Okay, so Danny, you've never been in my house, but Jen, you know that the gate next to my house,
right next to your house,
open. Right, it doesn't. It does not open. It's an emergency gate. Like if there's a storm, if we need a fire, we need to evacuate, then it opens. Like if the ambulance.
Who has control over it?
The HOA or the property management. Excuse me, property management has control over it. But that's not the problem. The problem is the people that try and exit out of this gate. They drive up to it and it doesn't open, and then they sit there for a few minutes or a few seconds, and then They
Beep their horn?
do like a 3, 4, 5 point turn, and then their tires go into our yard, and it destroys our yard because they're not grown-ups enough to back up, to like reverse, because obviously you don't know, a lot of people don't know how to reverse in a straight line. So anyways, so it's getting really out of hand because the other day somebody tried to exit the gate, then they tried to turn around, but they were unsuccessful, and they left these huge tire marks in our yard. Part of the gate has been blown down from Milton, and it's still down, and the actual gate, or the metal fence is laying on the ground. But these people proceeded to drive over the fence.
That's what I said I was going to do.
They drove.
Remember I said I was going to do that?
You can see the fence. It's completely bent because they drove over it.
Can you get with the HOA and just tell them to just open it? Just leave it open. Just let it be open.
Well, that's not I don't care about the gate being open because that prevents traffic, because we had it open.
They try to cut through.
Well, and people zoom. They speed through there, and people are always walking their dogs over here. Kids are always riding their bikes. That's fine keeping it closed. I just want a sign posted over here before you make the turn to go out the gate. Saying, this is not an exit.
Yeah.
This is not an
Why
exit.
don't you put one? Just put one up.
Okay, so this is why I hate HOAs and their bullshit. I emailed our property management company and I said, first of all, hey, our landscaping company blows. Literally, they blow shit on our cars. Can you please tell them to not blow stuff on our cars, or don't blow off our driveway if a car's parked in the driveway. Fine, whatever. And then I asked her, I said, can we get a sign posted that says, this is not an exit? I told her exactly where I lived and where the sign should go. And she responded, well, we have a new landscaping company. We will mention it to them. And the board needs to pass having the approval for putting the sign up. I said, okay,
go to one of the
fine.
meetings.
Well, I go on the Facebook page. We have a Facebook page. And I posted on there. And I said, I told them the situation of what that car did and what it's done to our yard. I actually have pictures and I posted it. And to get approval to have your post on the page, somebody from the board has to approve the post.
Oh,
fine.
my God.
Okay. So a couple people, like 2 or 3 other people from the neighborhood responded, but nobody from the board responded. So I, with my smart ass, I go, anyone from the board is going to respond to my post? So then one bitch from this neighborhood who I cannot stand. Oh my God. Another story about her another day. Copies and paste this one post that they had about reminder in big letters, reminder, capstone, the property management doesn't follow the Facebook page. You need to contact them directly if you have a problem or issue or a question. And I said, okay, well, I actually emailed them and asked them about this sign, and they told me to ask the board to approve this. But thanks for the reminder. And I gave her a thumbs up.
Oh,
she oh, look at that.
How'd that do that?
I don't know.
Doesn't do the hearts. On FaceTime, you can do that and you can get hearts.
I wonder if it's
really?
just because of the app, because she's on the app. That's
Maybe.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
But anyways, she hasn't responded. Nobody's responded to my message about getting the sign. And no, I do not go to the meetings, because if I do, I will
Get
probably go fucking postal and blow everybody up there in the board.
Yeah.
I cannot physically
No, I get
sit
it.
there
I get
and
it.
not say anything, because it will get really ugly.
I would probably just go to one meeting and say, look,
I'd put your own sign up.
gone, or get a sign, buy a professionally one, get it put in the
And,
ground.
like,
Who's going to take it down?
I can't, I just, it's everyone in this neighborhood except for one family that we're friends with. I absolutely love them. Everybody else in this neighborhood can eat a bag of dicks.
Well, maybe it's time to move.
That's the plan. That's the hope.
Yeah.
But we don't want an interest rate of 12%
Gotcha.
That's true.
and pay triple of our mortgage right now. Like
Gotcha.
we're stuck here for a little bit, but
I get it. That's
infuriating
stinks. That's
to
terrible
be in this
when
neighborhood.
It's terrible when you have to live like that. I hate that.
All
And
right,
that
so
if the people were impeding on their driveway or their grass or whatever, they
Oh.
would certainly
Oh,
put
yeah.
up a sign.
for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It doesn't affect them any.
Ugh, I hear you on that. All right, so my BS is when you go, I got my hair done today and I love my hairdresser, but I absolutely hate the way that they style my hair. I don't know why hairdressers nowadays want to make everybody's hair straight. I am not a straight hair person. I look stupid and it's dumb and I hate it. So today she tried to curl it and that didn't work out either. So that's why I have a hat on and I'm just giving up from now on. I'm going to just tell her to cut it, color it, and be done with it. I'm going to go home because it's just better that way.
Yeah.
And, yeah, go
Cheaper
and
too.
save your money. Don't let her
Yeah.
style
Yes.
your
She
hair.
won't- she won't
That's
Yeah,
charge
I'd
me
be
for
curious to
styling
see
it.
how much she pays for that.
Yeah.
But you're
My
right.
mom
I didn't
colored
even
my
think of
hair
that.
this time, but she gave me some orange spots, so I'm going to see her tomorrow and have her.
Yeah,
Fix
it's
it.
like I think it's
Fix
like $40 for me just to get my hair styled.
It was
Yeah,
your
just
mother,
tell her not
Danny.
to. What?
Wasn't it your mother?
Yeah, it was my mom, and I'm going to see her tomorrow. She's going with me. She's going to Massachusetts, so she will be fixing my hair on her
Oh,
vacation.
your mom does your hair?
Oh, good.
Mm-hmm. My mom's been doing
Oh,
hair for
that's
about
cool.
60 years. I think she needs to start wearing glasses, though. She does a good job. She did a really good job with the cut and everything, but I got some orange spots that she's going to have to check out.
She does a great job. I actually
She
was
does.
noticing your hair at brunch on Saturday. I was like, Danny's hair looks really nice.
Yeah, she
the
does a
color.
good job. She's cheap, too.
Free?
Yeah. And that's
Does she
my
do that?
motto. If it's
Does
free,
she
it's
do it
for
for
me.
a living? Is that
Yeah.
what she does?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know your mom lived here either.
She doesn't. She just
Oh.
comes here like every 4 months.
Oh,
So
to do your
I just
hair.
wait.
Danny's hair.
till then. Yeah.
Where does she live?
Colorado Springs.
Oh, nice. Okay.
All my family pretty much lives there, except for my sister, and my kids.
Right. Nice.
So, yeah,
All right. Well, this was a good show.
good show.
And I guess we are going to skip next week. So we will be back in 2 weeks on Monday. So good luck to Danny on her new
Yay,
job.
Danny.
Thank you. More details to follow.
Or Krista and I will be by ourselves next week. We'll figure that out.
Be a game time decision.
Yeah.
Game time decision.
All right, girls. Have
All
a
right,
good
girls.
week.